this.
Turn the volume down on this.
He said disrespectful straight from the start.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening, presented by Carolina Lightweight from Good. When the action begins in the studio, our referees for tonight's event are Elgato Azul and Carolina Real Streamers. For the viewers in attendance and Facebook and YouTube users around the world, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. Live from the Elgato Azul TV studio in Louisville, Texas, it's time! What's up, slime lovers? I'm your host, Chris, a.k.a. Elgato Azul. My partner in slime, Mr. Jamie Dunn, Carolina Lightweights, baby.
What's up? What's up with everybody?
Jamie Dunn, how's it going, my man? You look
running around like a chicken with my head cut off right in a second.
That's good. That's good. It's good to be busy.
That's it, man. Mama's back there in the back pressing bake towels as fast as she can go. So if y'all hear a little bit of squeaking, y'all, that's Mama back there getting it done. That's it. Getting it done.
Dude, I had a visit today from Jimmy Floyd. He drove in from Amarillo, Texas to pick up some steel. He picked up some steel from the battleship Texas, which was a ship that was in Pearl Harbor. And it's decommissioned and they've taken it apart. And he bought some steel off of it. He's going to make some knives out of it. But on his way through, he dropped by. He said, send me a pin where you're at. And he brought Jackson a knife.
Wow.
Hope y'all can read that. Texas Tornado.
Oh, that looks Jackson. Good. Man.
Just for the hell of it, man. Be awesome, dude. Appreciate you, Jimmy. Jimmy Floyd, custom knife maker, Amarillo, Texas. You can find him on Facebook. It says Jimmy Floyd Maker, Amarillo, Texas. I can't remember the name of his knife work, Amarillo Knife Works or something like that.
Yeah, matter of fact, Chris, I got a decal right here. As soon as I get my boat back this week, I'm gonna put a decal right on the boat. We're gonna represent him real well around here in South Carolina.
He's like, hey, Chris, is there anything maybe I could do for Operation Vets with Nets? So I'm like, man, he's like, I got this steel from this battleship. So I called Rich. We're going to try to figure out some type of deal where we can do something for a vet or maybe some type of auction.
Yeah.
Or a raffle. Piece of steel he got, it's not very big. It's the last piece, so it's going to be one of a kind and something really cool. It'll. I'm pretty sure it'll come with like a certificate of authenticity of the metal. Come off of the ship. He also got some wood from it too, so he might be able to make a handle. He said he would have to take the wood and get some type of process where they impregnate it with, I don't remember, acrylic or something to make it harden it. But
man, I tell you what,
so
he makes.
I don't know if Jimmy's in here, but Jimmy, appreciate you, makes some
excellent knives. I've got mine sitting right here beside me.
This is one he sent me about a week and a half ago.
Man, they are awesome knives, man. I mean,
it's like a Bowie knife, man.
I love it.
You can chop
I got to keep it away from Mama back there.
I'm not going to put this on the boat. He's like, yeah, you cut bait with it. I'm like, yeah, I could cut bait with it, but I'm not going to. Hell, this thing needs to go in a frame on the wall. That's what I'm going to do.
I tell you what, they are sharp too, boy. Great, they are sharp.
Roman Dominguez, I can't believe it. What's up, buddy? That's my old fishing buddy from about 10 years ago. Man, we need to go fishing. We need to go fishing, buddy. It's been way too long. All right, let's run through here real quick. We got Killer Bee Outdoors. I sent Bill up to an area, and it's a good show because he went and did something out of he's not used to doing, and it freaking paid off. He freaking slayed him. Got him on over 50 up in the shallow timber.
I love it.
He's on a kayak. So, Billy Bever, welcome, bro. Vess Cooks, what's happening, Vess? I sent Vess a care package just to show my appreciation for him being a good friend to me. Vess, go catch you a lake monster, buddy. I sent him a Carolina Lake Weights lake package because I know a guy.
Know a guy that knows you. That's it.
Owen Coke. What's up, everyone? Bite is on here in DC. Yep, it's that time of year. If you're in the right place at the right time, it's freaking on. It should be lights out. We had some rain that came through today. Supposed to rain tomorrow, a pretty good amount. I'm gonna head up to the inlet and look for a 100-pounder.
Man, that's what I'm talking about.
Eagle says, "What's up, Slime family? Leland Loy, Slime Time brothers. Hope all is well." I fished with Lee and the whole Operation Vets with Nets crew on our last trip. Man, we had an epic adventure. I didn't get to fish last weekend. It was my dad's 90th birthday, so we celebrated. And then Sunday, I took Jackson to Six Flags.
Looked like y'all had a good time, especially at the birthday party. I saw some of the pictures in the video, man. I was like, man.
Yeah, we had a good time. And some of his sisters showed up yesterday and surprised him.
Oh,
they drove in from New Mexico and just showed up at the front door. Didn't give him any warning or anything. Well, he's still here. I guess you didn't kill him with a heart attack.
I saw Jackson up in the pool. I'm like, man, that thing looks cold.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to jump in, Dad. I was like, well, let me video it. I don't think you're going to be in there long. Wesley Grubbs, what's up, bro? Yep, Bill, that is a sick blade. I'm a knife freak. Anything custom, I like custom. Jimmy said somebody ordered one off the show last week, so appreciate whoever did that.
Heck yeah.
Jimmy's a good dude, and he makes some cool knives, so hopefully you enjoy it. Operation Vets with Nets. Hey, bros. Welcome in, Rich. Hope your drive was safe today. I guess it was because you're on the show talking. So, Brad Sparks, what's up, fellas? Excited to watch another amazing episode. Well, we're going to talk some catfishing like we always do. Average Joe catfishing. What's up, everyone? Jason Mitchell, what's up, guys? Tracy, that's not Tracy. Roman has to share a profile with his wife because he probably gets it. Parole violation. I can't have a knife. Brad Sparks says, I got a knife from Jimmy. He's very talented. Yeah, he can go all out on one if you want. He can do Damascus steel. Mine's just high carbon steel, but he can do all kinds of stuff, man.
I can promise you that one will last you a lifetime right there.
Brian Henry, what's going on, y'all? Yeah, he ages them a little bit, puts a little patina on them. I don't know how he does it. Probably acid or something. Jimmy says, hell yeah, I'm almost home. You're a road warrior, Jimmy. Appreciate the knife, man. Really cool.
That's
Jackson loved it. He didn't want me bringing it into the show. He wanted to go because I just showed it to him right before the show. I'm like, I got to take this. I'm sorry. Man, the realest fishing. What's up, guys? Lewis Parker, evening. Moving on down. Beth says, appreciate you guys for that package. Thanks. You're welcome, buddy. Thanks for being a good friend. Alex, Texas Fishing. What's up, y'all? Operation Vets with Nets providing. Oh, I already got you. Moving on down. Clearview Outdoors. What's up, Skip? Welcome in, buddy. Yeah, he loved it, Jimmy. Really cool, man. Uh-oh, what'd I do? There we go. So, springtime.
my time.
And I don't know if we're going to have much of a spring. It's like almost going straight into summer here. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's been a little bit warmer than I thought it would be already, man. We're supposed to have a little cold snap coming through, I think, later on tonight, just to drop the temperatures down to, I think, about 41 or so. But from what
Our
I
water
see,
temp went from 52, and in 2 weeks it's up to 6. My buddy fished yesterday said it was 68.
yeah, man.
I'm like, damn, fish are going. Well, we'll have a threadfin spawn first, and then the party's over. Big fish party will be over.
I hear you, man. I know they said around here, normally we don't get very excited until after Easter because we normally could get another frost. But they said the outlook looks like we're done with it pretty much. Wintertime's pretty well over with. Springtime's really warming up. So
91 here yesterday.
whew, man. Wow.
Yeah. We got some a little cool front blowing in with some rain, so should fire some things up. Hopefully I can get in the right place at the right time and test out these new prototype rigs we got designed.
Yeah, we got a little something in the works, and give them bad boys some good testing and see where we go.
We got a new rig we've developed just fresh out the laboratory. It has not been in the water yet. So it's something that I haven't seen anyone using it. Not that I know of. I haven't seen it. So
Yeah.
Something completely new. We're going to see if it works.
Yep.
We're going to try to catch catfish a completely different kind of way.
That's it, man. It's definitely one I think is gonna how do you say, put some new things on the map. Let's just go that way.
I don't know after this weekend. I don't know if it's going to work.
Yeah. It's definitely. I'm hoping to get my boat back tomorrow. I was supposed to, have it back last week, but if we do, we're going to try doing some testing with it this weekend ourselves. So I'm excited, man. I can't wait because I know it's totally different.
Brad says he wants the new rig. When is it available? It'll be available after I freaking put it to the test.
Yep. We're not putting nothing out
unless it works. I have a feeling it's going to work great, but we don't know because it's never. I don't know that there's been another rig out there used the way this one's used. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, we always make sure, guys, before we put anything out there, we test it and go from there.
I have a feeling it's going to work just from what I saw on the water a lot this year. I think that it will work. It should work.
And I think, Chris, the biggest thing too is if everything goes right, is basically getting the people on board. Talking to them how they're basically going to be able to use this thing. And
when I'm holding up a 70 or 80 pounder with that thing hanging out of its mouth, we'll see.
That's it. Y'all just stick around.
Oh man, we're gonna go after some freaking lake monsters this weekend, so we'll know. We'll know soon. I'm gonna test it thoroughly before we put it out. So
Yeah.
Bernie McBride, hello, slime catters. Welcome in, Bernie. Juan says, don't threaten me with a good time. Can't wait to use it.
I promise you it will be a good time if everything goes right.
It's going to be interesting. I want to put a camera back there on that thing.
Yeah, that would be.
I want to put a camera zoomed in on that thing, man. That's going to be epic.
Man, I don't want to say too much. But if you can do that, Chris, that would be wild.
I'll see what I can do. I need to plan ahead. Yeah, Bill, you can all the rigs that we've developed. I'm seeing the teaser rig. I just saw yesterday another company's got the teaser rig out. We were the first. Been running that rig for 9 years, and we put the thing out about what? Probably in the fall.
Yeah, back in
the fall. It's caught on. I've also seen the blades. Seen a lot of guys with the blades. It's not patented, so when something works, guys are going to start using it. It just comes with the territory. So we're just going to keep trying to improve.
That's it. Which we talked. We got a lot of cool stuff that we're going to be doing, and hey, if people's paying attention, I love it.
Bill says Waterwolf makes a great underwater leader camera. That might be interesting, but this is going to be exciting up here on top. Might be exciting on the surface.
Might need to set one up from a kite, Chris.
There you go. I like that. Put the drone back. Well, the only problem with the drone is it only flies for about 25 minutes.
Yeah.
But it'd be cool to have that drone right there where that action's happening, man.
Set you a kite out there with it pointing down. It works.
All right. I don't know.
I bet you will see some boats doing that now that we said it.
Nathan Lorick, what's up, bro? Stonefly 71, welcome. So, shallow water spring catfishing. Jamie Dunn, what are you looking for right now? If you were going to go fishing, what's the things that's going through your mind before you hit the lake?
Well, the first thing that's going through my mind is what my tackle is. What I'm switching up. Now's the time I'm switching up some hooks. I'm switching up some leader sizes.
What are you changing out hook wise?
Hook wise, actually, I'm Chris, on my hooks here local. I'm going basically I'm not going really down. I'm kind of going up. I'm staying with the 10s. Yeah, I'm going with the 10s into the 12s. So we're with the
go bigger, go home, baby.
Go bigger, go home for us during the springtime, for sure. I'm basically looking at where I'm gonna start fishing at. My areas I know where the catfish are gonna be holding shallow. They're moving around. They're gonna start coming up to the shallows.
What makes them go shallow?
Well, Chris, this time of year, our structure and our lily pads that we have really starts bringing them, flatheads and the blues up towards that area. Start, where the bait's moving up underneath them lily pads.
All right. So you guys,
during the day.
What are they eating on? Like bluegill, crappie, bass?
Bluegill. They're eating on crappie. They're eating on, some of the smaller little, what we call them, almost like little shad or almost something. They're eating up underneath all that stuff right now too.
Smaller bait fish.
Yeah, smaller bait fish. Yeah. And especially for the flatheads at night, them lily pads holding up under where all the brim get up underneath them lily pads at night and sit there. The flatheads are coming up in there. So, oh yeah. So we're changing.
How shallow is shallow? I'm going to go ahead and say for me, shallow is 10 feet and less. You may be in 6 inches of water. You may be in a foot. A lot of times, when I'm looking for where I don't necessarily set up on them and where I think they're going to come through. I look for fish, and then I set up on the fish. And when I find them in an area, I generally try to put the trolling motor down and then creep up on them. And if I'm in timber, I'll tie to a tree. If I'm up shallow, if I'm up really shallow, I got some stick mud anchors that you can just stick down in the mud. And if I'm a little bit deeper, I'll throw out the box anchors. So typically right now I'm fishing probably 2 to 6 feet.
Yeah.
Some days, if there's a little cold front, I may move a little bit deeper. But typically I'm up in that, my son freaking FaceTiming.
And Chris, I'm going to tell you, next month I'm going even shallower.
That threadfin spawn, we're typically in about a foot of water.
Yeah. I'm going to be throwing a lot of baits. I can basically almost see the baits. I can see my stuff that I'm using. I mean, they're going to, especially next month, is going to be real shallow. So,
these freaking kids are killing me, dude.
So definitely going to be from a foot to down to 10 foot for sure. Let's see here.
Will the rain cause any changes for this weekend? Most definitely, Nathan. So before the rain, you're going to be up looking in shallow cover, which for most of us, and typically they're going to start moving up towards spawning habitat. Now they're still a ways from spawning, but they're going to start moving towards it. And they'll be up in shallow timber. They'll be up in the sticks, flooded, where it was green at one point. Now it's just sticks. They'll be up in those sticks. But with the rain, you're looking for where the influx of water's coming in. That's going to concentrate them. So anytime you have an influx of rain, especially in the spring, generally most of the year, but especially in the spring, if you got rain, get up in the muddy water. Yeah, you don't have to be right there in the current, but just out there where it's flushing all that. These freaking kids.
And I see a lot of people, especially like Ohio. I know a lot of the water temperatures in some areas might not be as warm as it is in my area or Chris's area.
Really, it's not about the water temperature so much as it is about it's warming up, and they move up into the shallow stuff to get comfortable. So that we're talking shallow water bite. It's spring, but hell, they've been shallow since February here. As soon as the water gets out of the 40s and the shallows warm up faster than the deeper water, they move shallow. So it's not, we talk a lot about water temperature, but really it's a warming trend. The lake is on a warming trend. Wherever you're fishing is on a warming trend. So what the rain does, it just oxygenates the water. It flushes a bunch of stuff into feed, or that bait fish and other fish can run up in there and feed. And then the catfish go up in there and scavenge on what they're feeding on, but also on what's scavenging. So they eat the bait fish, and the game fish are in there eating the bait fish, and they eat game fish. So they have a wide variety. They're not real picky on what they eat. They're not keyed in on one particular type of fish like other times of the year. They'll eat damn near anything. They'd eat a June bug if it was in front of their face.
Because I'm going to be using a lot of American eel here, and I can tell you they're going to be flat laying it to the American eel also. So, I mean,
Yeah. My buddy's like, well, I'll send them to an area, and they'll be like, well, I can't get that bait you got. I'm like, it don't matter. Just go get something fresh. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be big. They're up there just scavenging. Hell, they'll eat something the size of a giant fish in the spring will eat something the size of a quarter. Yeah. They're not real picky. They just go up in there and scavenge. They're just on a roam feed. They're just moving through the area eating.
Tilapia, yeah, they'll eat tilapia. They'll eat pretty much any fish in the lake when they're up there. So,
Chris, how much are you going to be changing a lot of your stuff around right now, getting ready for the springtime?
I usually since I don't use all giant baits, I do start downsizing some baits. I'll start using baits that are like 4 inches by 1.5 inches, just about the size of a large thread fin. But it doesn't matter what bait I'm using, all different baits. I use all different baits. I like them about that big, but I'll also put some bigger ones out, and I'll even have a few stinger rigged. But on my smaller baits, I'll switch to an 8/0 hook. On my bigger stuff, I'm using 10/0 hooks. You're catching a lot of eater-sized catfish mixed in with big fish as well. So use a variety of hooks, variety of baits, variety of sizes. The areas I'm looking for. So if we haven't had rain, I'm generally going to be up in the timber, and I'll find an area where I'm marking fish, and I'll look for an area that has a clearing, and I'll tie up on the outskirt on a piece of timber, and I'll fan cast out into the middle of that little clearing. That way, if you get a giant, you can see which way he's running.
Yeah.
You got a better chance of catching him rather than if you're in the clearing and casting up into the timber. You will lose a lot of your bigger fish that way. So that's the way I do it. Serves me well. And then if I'm on a lake that's clear up in the shallow water, I drag. I'm on some really shallow mud flats. If you're in a lake that's got some shallow mud flats,
give me 1 second, Chris.
Yeah, go for it, man. Those can be great areas. So this weekend, I'll be fishing a lake that's got no timber. I'll be up in a very shallow mud flat. Right where the river comes in, I'll be dragging right up in there in about 3 foot of water, out to probably about 8 foot. Dink over stink, welcome in, bro. Realist fishing. What type of rigs in the shallow water? I typically shorten my rigs up. I'll still use some with floats. If I'm dragging, I'm going to definitely have rattles. They're not as important when you're anchoring. I think when you're anchoring, you're in an area where it's on a roam feed deal, and when you're shallow dragging, you're calling them in a little bit with the rattle. So I use a fairly short leader when I'm shallow because you never know if you're going to be in a foot of water. So, I mean, I'm using a leader that's about a foot, maybe 18 inches. And if it's 18 inches, I can pull my slip bobber up, or my Demon Dragon style rattle. I can pull it towards the swivel, and my bait will sink a little bit deeper. So,
and that's awesome, Chris, how you're able to adjust that thing. You don't have to break no knots or anything. Just adjust it right where you need it and roll with it. I see a question. I don't know if you already answered it, from Brad. Do y'all ever fish at night?
I fish at night, but this time of year I don't. I'm pretty much fishing the morning bite. For me, that's the best bite this time of year. And here's the thing. They bite all day long. If you're on a day that they're biting right now, they're biting all day long. They're feeding up pre-spawn. So usually when I start night fishing, it's in the summer. Usually post-spawn, I'll start moving out and fishing at night.
And pretty much for us here on the rivers and stuff like that, I'll be pretty much switching to all night by next month. So, for sure.
Jeff Martin, welcome in, bro. Cross-eyed catfishing. What's up, y'all? Better late than never.
see here.
I think we're caught up.
Yeah, I believe we are too. I was just going back, making sure I didn't miss anything. Had to run out real fast. But
What kind of area are you looking for right now? Pre-spawn, moving shallow.
Right
You're
now,
in the river.
shallow in the rivers, I'm actually fishing a lot of lily pads and a lot of little structure coming out from the lily pads. You know, kind of real shallow is what I'm fishing a lot right now. That seems to be holding a lot of nice fish this time of year for us. But I love them lily pads. It holds a lot of good bait fish. They like to hide up underneath them things in the daytime, and then there's a lot of flatheads and stuff moving around them at nighttime.
Yo-Yo says, how long have we been live so far?
Probably
Tonight, 20 minutes, 30 minutes?
30 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, but the show's been on for 2 years. So
it's already been that long, man. Holy cow.
We're not quite there yet, but we're moving there.
I think what's this, Chris, our 83rd episode?
83rd show. We've skipped, obviously we missed some shows for holidays and people get sick and get busy, can't do the show, but 83 shows. We're creeping up on 100 shows.
Won't be long, brother.
It's been fun, man. I'm enjoying it.
Best place.
B says he's stoked for the weekend. New moon, rain could be epic, Chris.
Yep.
Bill, I like the way you think, buddy. I need to get me a fish over 70, man. We've caught a bunch in the 60s this year, but we can't seem to get out of the 60s. So, we've caught a ton in the 50s. Probably one of our better years for 50s. I bet we got 40 fish over 50 pounds this year. But, man, we just can't get in that 70-pound club. Now, previously I have fished Texoma a lot more than I have this year because I've just went on a couple of bad streaks up there and it put a sour taste in my mouth.
Oh, man. Chris, how many months we got till spawn?
Oh, dude. I'd say we're weeks away here.
That's what yep.
Man, it's freaking happening fast. Somebody told me yesterday the water temp was 68. So what'll happen for most of our fisheries is we'll have a threadfin spawn and the fish will feed hardcore for about a week straight. They will gorge. And unless we have a cold front that blows in right after that, the lake has a rapid heat up and the big fish will move up into their spawning areas. Yeah. They're going to move onto their beds. The biggest ones typically find the best spots first. So the best fish are going to go up in there first. That's why right now, pre-spawn, you need to be up close to their spawning habitat. If you're wanting to catch the biggest fish in the lake, get up where they're starting to look. They're starting to scope out their spawning area, and they're waiting for just the right temperature, a little bit of flow. Maybe they don't want a ton, but they want some flow. They want to run. They want to get up and run. It's really getting to be that time of year. It's early. It's a lot earlier than most years, but I believe it's going to happen sooner this year for us. So
that's it. Where do you fish at, Chris, if there's not a lot of structure or no structure around? What's the best way to attack an area like that?
Man, I'm going to still be around the creek inlets, the river inlets, the mud flats, anywhere where the water is going to be warmer than the main lake. So you'll be on the main lake. It's probably 62 degrees right now, 60 degrees maybe. And you'll move up into a shallow area. It could be protected from the wind. and it'll be 8-10 degrees warmer. Fish are going to want to be up in that. Bait's going to want to be up in that. Now, if there is some structure like a river channel, you can use those river channels as kind of your guide points. You know, I use the river channels just to look when I'm looking. So first thing I want to do when I get on the water is I want to determine what depth the majority of the fish are in. And it's going to be there's usually multiple patterns, but you're looking for whatever pattern you're going to fish. You're going to be looking for where the majority of those fish, what depth they're going to be in. Once you determine that, then you can move around in those depths. It's usually about a 5-foot range that they like to be in. Sometimes it's a little more, sometimes it's a little less. But once you find that magic depth, you can move around. I use the channels to move up and down. And then as I'm moving up and down, I'm looking for, all right, there's a patch of timber over there. It runs up into that creek channel, runs up into that cove, and this channel runs up in here. I like to check that wide. I want to check that point. I want to check that little stand of trees right there. All right, there's a little clearing that looks different than all this standing timber. Now there's a little clearing. I'm going to check that area that's a little bit different. And that's what I look for. When I'm running up in those areas, I'm looking for something that's a little different. If you're in a sea of standing timber, look for something, a tree that looks completely different than all the 500 other trees you're looking at. And you'll see most of the time, more times than not, that little thing that's different. It could be a bend in the channel. It could be a submerged bridge, an old roadbed. Those are good because usually an old roadbed will have like a little ditch, a drainage ditch on each side before they flooded these lakes. And so catfish will use those roadbeds and those little ditches as highways. They'll use them for ambush points, and you can anchor up on those types of deals and do well.
That's it. Chris, got another one for you, brother. Is there no point to fish during the spawning period, or should I just target other species of fish?
Man, you can still catch fish. You just have to understand that the big ones typically don't bite during the spawn. You can get lucky and catch one. I fish the spawn every year. I don't stay home because either they're spawning or there's somebody tells me that they're not going to be biting. I just go. I fish anyway. And I've caught some big fish during the spawn. It's not like you can't do it because they don't all go off the same program. Some of them might already be spawning. They're going to be done by the time some of these other ones are going on. And then some of them spawn late. They may not go on their beds until July and be done August. So just go. And if it's during the spawn and you do catch one, it's usually we'll start catching them generally a day or two after they come off the bed.
Yeah.
And you can tell that they've been in the bed because they're beat to hell. They stink.
Yeah.
Like it's freaking Boys Town, Nuevo Laredo. They stink.
And that's me too, Chris. I'm going to go regardless. I mean, I'm just going to go give it a shot because you never know. I mean, you could catch a nice one. Do I look to catch a big one during that time? No, probably not.
No, I mean, here's the deal. I know probably I'd say 80% of the top guides in our state, they're not catching them either. They're out there every day fishing the same way, same areas. And, I've heard guys from other places that like fish, for instance, up closer towards north of y'all, Jamie, and they'll say, oh, there's no big fish season. I'm like, man, so we'll come to Texas and show you guys. I'm like, so you're going to come to Texas and show me how to fish? To me, that's an insult because we got tons of guys here that are incredible anglers. Big fish typically don't bite when they're on their nest. And they have a long. I don't know why it's such a long period that they don't bite. But when they come off their nests here, it's typically a night bite after that. Now you occasionally will get some in the morning. So, for instance, right now, I can expect to catch maybe 5 big fish on a trip. Right, on a good day, I may catch 10. Right, it's pre-spawn. On a good day, I may get 10 big ones. I can expect to catch 5, and if it's a crappy day, I may only get 1 or 2. In the summer, I may get 5 the entire month. So you tell me if there's a season or not. 5 the whole month, or 5 in one trip. And usually, you see what we do. I mean, we had a trip where we got 68 of them in one trip. 68 big fish in one trip.
I'm like you.
There is a season.
Yeah,
Regardless
I'm like
of what
you, man.
Somebody says there is a season for big fish. They just typically don't feed. Here's the deal. When they come off the bed, yes, they feed hard and heavy for about 2 weeks to feed back up. But in the summer months in a lake, they become very lethargic. Even though they have a high metabolism, they only feed for a very short bite window. So the difference, like now, you might have an 8-hour bite window. In July, you may have an 8-minute bite window. They feed for 8 minutes out of the 24 hours, and then they lay there like a blob the rest of the day and night. So being there at the right place at the right time is a lot to do with it in the summer months. And, what you'll hear is guys say, oh, I still catch them. And then you go look at their catch rates and you're like, when? Because I'm looking at your catch rates over here, bud. And I only see like 1 or 2 fish. So I think a lot of it is like bravado, guys saying, yeah, I do this, I do that. Now it's different everywhere. In a river, you got current. A lot of guys in the river still do well. But rivers and lakes are completely different. In the summer, the lake has a low oxygen level. It gets super hot. They feed really fast for about 30 minutes, maybe out of the day. They eat 1 meal and then they go lay there. Now I can find them, but it's just hard to make them bite.
Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you, Chris, like for me, come spring and summer, I'm switching to all river. Now,
a lot of guys do that.
Yeah, when I say like come summertime, or go during the wintertime, go down to Santee and fish, I won't go down there and fish because it's totally different. You're going to catch some fish in the 20s and maybe 30s. And some people might catch 1 or 2 here and there a little bit bigger, but it's a lot tougher. I can go to the river. I can catch big flatheads. I can catch big blues.
Yeah, a lot of guys will switch to flatheads and fish at night. And, and occasionally you'll get a big blue.
That's it. Okay. But in the wintertime on Santee, it's just like where you are. You catch your bigger blues down there. I mean, you catch a lot bigger fish.
So, typically for us here, when you get that first cool rain, it's almost like they ride that cool rain back down out of the river and the creeks. They get in the deeper holes because that water's cool up in those rivers and creeks. And when you get that cool rain, they ride that cool rain. And that's when I'm fishing the north ends of these lakes and I know that first cool rain, it's almost like clockwork. I can run up there and freaking hammer them. But it's not like I'm not fishing every week before that, trying to do it. It's just different.
That's it.
That's why I started to get into alligator gar, because now in the heat of the summer when it's low oxygen, I can go catch 200-pound alligator gar, and that tickles my fancy.
That's it, Chris. Chris, do you have any river systems in your area that you target?
Yeah, we do. We have the Trinity River, but it has seasonal flow, Jerry. And it doesn't have a lot of flow in the summer. There is some flow, but it's a seasonal flow. In the summer, it gets a very low oxygen level, and that's why it's chock full of giant alligator gar. And that's pretty much our biggest river. And the rest of our rivers, they almost stop running. The Brazos, it has water in it, but it doesn't have any flow. And now some of the lower stuff, they'll let water out of the lakes just so that they can maintain the ecosystem. Otherwise, the oxygen level gets so depleted, all the fish will die. So they'll keep some of those oxygenated by letting some water out. But we don't have any real major river system. The Trinity River is our biggest, and it's in the heat of the summer. There's virtually no flow because it's impounded, and they catch the water and hold it so that all these houses in the Metroplex have drinking water. And we suck these lakes dry in the summer because there's no flow coming into them.
I want to touch on Josh's right here talking about ditches, especially when there's no current. That's the same thing with the rivers. I'm certain times of the day or certain times during the night, I'm checking these highways, these ditches at certain times because I know those fish are really going to move up at certain times. And that's it, man. You got to check those. They normally hold a lot of fish and stuff. And Chris, do you find that? I know, checking certain areas and stuff like that very important also, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. Creole says lakes are so much more susceptible to weather pattern changes than rivers. Water clarity, current speed tends to control things in the river. Yes. So for lakes, it's going to be, there's a multitude. There's a ton of things that dictate what they're going to do in a lake because it's not up and down and determined by flow. It's determined by weather, the weather that we just had, the current weather that we have that day, and the weather that is approaching. Those three things are probably the biggest factors. And then it's temperature. It's the changes in temperature in the water. So how much has the water temperature changed? And then the other things are going to be like flow. How much water is coming into the lake? Is the lake letting water out? Or is the lake on the rise? If they're letting water out, everything scatters. It's usually a pretty crappy bite. If there's water coming in, they concentrate. If you've got steady weather, like steady south wind for 3 days, it's generally going to be good in a lake somewhere. You obviously got to go. It's not like go up and down and find this hole and then, pick this little section apart. It's all right. Now I'm in 50,000 acres. Out of this 50,000 acres, 5,000 of it going to have good fish in it. It's usually about 10% of the lake. So the longer, it's that old saying, time on the water. So the longer you do it, the better you become at finding that 10% of the water that has good fish in it. And then just being able to go to that water, the faster you can start breaking that algorithm down, the faster you can go put yourself on fish, the more time you have with the hooks in the water in front of the right fish, and the better your day is going to be. So,
do y'all like dragging baits or anchoring more at night time?
I would prefer to drag. I just like dragging. It's fun for me. If I'm anchoring, the problem with anchoring where I anchor, it's trees and stumps, or I'm going up into an inlet, into the mouth. There's sandbars and crap. It's just way more dangerous fishing the areas that I like to fish. So if I can find them out on a shallow flat and drag, that's what I'll do. I prefer to do that. And also Texas, the bugs are just freaking horrendous here. So if you can get away from those inlets and up in the mouths of those creeks, it's just way less bugs to deal with. There's a little breeze that keeps them blown off of you if you're out on the water. So that's another thing to contend with is the freaking bugs here. They're relentless.
Yeah, that's the same way here too, brother. On the rivers, man, them mosquitoes, the bugs. I mean, it's just freaking tear you up out there. And I will say, for myself, we will do some dragging at night on the rivers because there is no traffic, and we like doing stuff different that a lot of people don't. But I will do a lot of anchor fishing also when I'm targeting flatheads. But we kind of mix it up here.
Creole says, I'd rather deal with the heat than the bugs. Bugs are bad, man. And you're eating them. They're getting in your eyes. Or go down your shirt. Like, damn, what was that one? That one was crazy big.
How do you drag on the rivers against the current? I most definitely will. I will, because depending on the timeline of our switch in current, I could have a 3-hour period there where it's not as strong as it is when it first turns. When it first turns, it's hard to do some of that. Now, after 3 hours, when it starts slowing down and it starts filling up, I will definitely jump on a drag all the way up until after, where it comes to a standstill. So, for sure.
JP said last time he was in Texas, he had a cockroach pull a switchblade on him and mug him.
Oh, wow. Man. But even with not as strong as a trolling motor, if you move up towards where it's in the bends, if you're fishing a river as the bend around is not as much current and fish on the backside of that bend, and if you're dragging fish from the backside of that bend up, you still got where the current kind of flows to the other side on curves and stuff where it's not as strong. So if you look for that slower current, you're going to be all right with a 24 volt, 36 volt, because that's what I've got. You'll be able to do a lot of dragging on the river with no problems.
So you fish both, and I fished the Trinity. So I do fish the river, but just not nearly as much as I fish the lake. But what which do you think's more difficult, Jamie? Now that you've done both for a long time, what presents more of a challenge? Fishing the river or fishing the lake?
Fishing the river, to me, is easier than fishing the lake because that's where I come from. The lake fishing, I've learned a lot to how to find the structure on a lake, which is very important. I look for different areas, different points on the lakes that I've learned everything now, different highways. The river I can go to blindfolded and with no problem. Catch fish, exactly. I know 100% where I can go to catch them. I know the technique that I can use to catch them. But the lake is something that, comes like more natural for you because that's what you do every weekend. Here, I do it, when we do tournaments down in Santee and stuff. So I've learned a lot
of guys that come from the river say that. I know a lot of my guide buddies that fish the big tournament circuits.
Yeah.
They say you can take a lot of what you know from lake fishing and apply that to the river. But it's hard to take a lot of what you know from the river and apply it to the lake.
That's it. And that's where I was catching myself sometimes when I first started fishing the lake. I was trying to bring a lot of that over. It really wasn't working the way I was hoping it would. So basically had to change up some stuff. And now, honestly, it's pretty well getting to almost
in. What's cool is there's a lot of learning. It's easy to learn these days.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot of guys that are open, willing to help you out. You can pick things up real quick. I think once you have your base knowledge, you can start picking up and improving your game. You can really improve your game if you're willing to try new things and learn.
That's it. That's just like
I'm just going to do it this way, and if you're willing to say, all right, well, I don't know everything. You know, can you teach me a little something? You know,
That's it. And I'm gonna tell you, I've had a good partner down in Santee. We've learned a lot. We fished a lot of tournaments together and taught me a lot. And like I said, now it's pretty. I'm almost 100%. I can go there and catch fish just as good as anybody else.
Yeah,
that's how I feel about it right now. And I want to hit up on something too. There is a lot of different techniques that you can use in Creole. I saw in chat here that I want to even try to do a lot more this year on the river. I want to try to get into the bumping the bottoms and heavier current this year. I'm going to do a lot of that different techniques that I've never tried.
Yeah.
That I've seen a lot of people do. I'm going to try it here on some of our rivers. And there's all kinds of different things you can do to help, learn in different currents and slower currents and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Creole says everything he knows about locating fish is based on flow. And we've had a lot of really badass river guys, and they all say the same thing. It's flow. And, when there's no flow, they're like, damn, it's like, shit, what do I do now?
I can tell you, it's like, Chris, I know we were live a few times, when you were fishing, and the last time we done that, when our flow stopped, our fish stopped.
Well, that's kind of like us when the wind stops.
Yeah.
I've heard the same. The guy's like, well, you think there's current down there when the wind stops, the lake just stops moving? I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, if the lake is moving on top, it's moving down below. You don't think it is, but yes, there is current down there. And I think that when the lake is glass, it's basically like river guys when there's no current. It just the fish just kind of lay down, and now they got to eat at some point, but it's just they're not as easy to pinpoint. They kind of just start spreading out, and just becomes more difficult. You can change the game plan. I mean, I typically head to structure. A ledge, an edge, some type of contour, an old levee, a shoreline contour, and I can still do well, but it definitely becomes way harder.
Oh yeah, that's it. Let's see here.
Jamie, can you catch trophy catfish in deep water on Moultrie? Everyone says go shallow.
Well, you can. I've done it both ways.
So here's the little thing I'll say is because I've heard that a lot. And Jamie was in a tournament last year, and everyone was getting their ass kicked shallow. And he's like, there's this guy who's been freaking killing them every week out there. He's smoking these giant fish. And he's like, and I saw where he's fishing, and it wasn't shallow. He's like, so I'm just going to give it a whirl. And so, guys, there's not just one pattern.
Yeah.
If guys say, yeah, you got to go, I can promise you there's not just one pattern. Typically, fish that are deep are going to be on some type of structure. Fish that are shallow are on a roam feed. I believe that's why guys in their mind think, I got to go shallow. Well, those fish are actively moving around feeding. A giant fish that is in deep water is laying on a piece of ambush structure. He's just as willing to eat.
Yep.
But you got to put the bait on that piece of ambush structure for him to bite. And I think that's the biggest difference for guys that aren't able to get their bait exactly where it needs to be. They're not catching those fish. Whereas when you're up shallow, if you're in an area that they're just kind of swimming around, you can catch fish. You can get them that way.
Chris, I tell everybody, man, be flexible. If one thing is not working, be ready to change it up on the fly and be prepared to do something totally different. Don't just be stuck on one thing, because you got to be flexible. Get yourself where you know different techniques. If it's not working here, be ready to go and try something different.
I typically don't fish the same 2-3 weeks in a row.
Yep.
more than a couple of weeks in a row. I'm not in the same area. I'm not fishing the same. My baits may change depending on what the pattern is I'm fishing. The size of baits that I use change. There is no just set way to do it that's going to work all the time. You got to be flexible. There is no doubt. If you want to have a high success rate, you've got to be flexible, and you got to have a lot of different tricks in your bag. So if something's not working, you got to know kind of, all right, I know that's not working. I do see this going on in the lake, and move on to pattern B or pattern C or plan A, B, C, D. Check them down. Typically, when I'm looking for big fish, I don't just stop on my best spot. And now, if I see something that looks incredible, I'll stop and fish it. But I typically look at multiple areas, and then I grade that's me, man. I mean, I'm trying to catch big ass fish every trip, and I grade my spots, and then I move back to decide which one's going to be the best. Now, if I see something that I know is a home run, or I'm like, that's freaking, it's go time. But it typically doesn't. That only happens about 10% of my trips where I go there and I'm like, it's Monster City. Let's throw down and go for it. I typically pick 2 or 3, 4 spots, and then I grade those, and then I go to the best one and check down from there.
And that's one thing Chris, coming from fishing a lot of tournaments, that I like to do. I like to have an A, B, C, D, and sometimes an F spot. I'm grading each one of the spots because, that's where you're a lot for tournament fishing. You're pre-fishing. You go, okay, bam, man, I picked up a nice one here. What was the conditions? What was the layout of that one spot that made that big fish be in there? I'm looking at several different things when I'm picking out my spots for tournaments, just like the structures, like I said, and the conditions. That means a lot. And just, going off of stuff like that. But you're right, man. Changing it up, I mean, it's a good thing to do.
Dirty or Catfishing said, if I could only fish one depth range for the rest of my life, it would be deep.
Yeah.
Shallow water can be fire, but only at certain times. You can catch fish deep 90% of the time. And, there's usually, it really, a lot of that, if you're in a lake, it's very seasonal, especially here in Texas because of the thermocline. But I would say for us, it's mostly a mid-depth game. And if we have these big type cold events, it becomes a deep bite. Now, I know it's different for everybody. And depending on how much flow you have in a lake, a lot of these river lakes have flow. Even though it's a lake, it's basically still just a wide river. So there's flow in it. And those can be great deep. But for these closed systems, like most of our lakes are a closed system, they dam the thing up, and then it's flood control. So if there's a big, bunch of water coming in, they'll meter some water out to keep the level of the lake right. And so depth changes constantly. I mean, from week to week, you could be at 10. It could be the same temperature, but it could be a 10 feet difference. It could be in 30 feet one week, 20 feet the next week, up in 4 feet the week after that. So, you got to be able to understand fish movement and migration, seasonal migration, bait migration, what they like to do with certain temperature, that's just happened. And then, the weather that you're having that day. There's just so many freaking things that you have to input into the algorithm as a lake angler. There is no spot fishing in a lake. Anybody who spot fishes gets their ass kicked a lot. It's just not how it works in a lake. You got to go where the fish are, and they move. They move from morning to afternoon. So,
Yo, are you next Santee Cooper down there? in that area, it seems like you're pretty close to that area.
I'd love to fish Santee Cooper. Guys say, how would you do on this lake? How would you do on that lake? If you give me, if you give me enough time on the lake with no lines in the water, I can go find the fish. I just, it's catfish. It's, they have behavioral. It doesn't matter what lake you're on. Now, the patterns might change because of bait, different types of bait that are in that lake. But once I figure out the bait patterns, I can go to any lake and find catfish. I guarantee.
Chris, we might have to do a little week down there, brother, come the winter time.
Yeah, I would love to. You can come on down here. I'd come your way, man.
Heck yeah, brother. We're gonna have to make it happen.
Yeah, I get a lot of guys. How would you do? Come up here and fish this lake. I'm like, so you think that I would come up there to your lake, which is one of the best in the freaking world, and somehow would do worse than I would here on these Texas? Like you realize these are Texas lakes, right? I mean, these are not the same caliber lakes as the lakes you guys are some of you guys are fishing. I think I'd do all right.
That's it. We're gonna plan on this.
We'll do it, man. We'll go catch some monsters. Do you prefer cut bait shad or whole shad? Brad Sparks says.
You talking to me, Chris?
Yeah.
I prefer filleted.
I like fillets. I like them whole.
Yep. I do a lot of fillets.
I use really big baits. Now this time of year, I start downsizing about half my stuff, maybe even more than half. But I always got to throw some giant baits out there, even when it's even when they're biting something small, because I've had way too many days where they're just wanting something small. But the biggest fish of the day typically still comes off that freaking giant bait.
Yeah.
I just like it.
Chris, wouldn't you start looking at the deeper river channels on Santee first?
First thing I'd do is I'd find the bait patterns. That's the first thing I do, no matter what lake I'm on. I have a general idea where I think bait's going to be, fish are going to be with the seasonal migration of fish in a lake. Are they moving up the lake? Are they down the lake? Or in the top third of the lake, the bottom third of the lake, the mid part of the lake? Are they up in the arms? Depending on all those where I believe they're going to be, then I'll break down the section. Once I figure out what section I believe they're going to be in, I will determine what the magic depth is that day. And there's going to be multiple patterns. There's going to be a shad pattern. There's going to be a game fish pattern. There could be a carp pattern. And depending on what time of the year, I'm going to decide out of those which one I'm going to target that day. Because game fish don't typically like to be up in 4 foot of water, unless it's like spawning time, then everything's up there. But a lot of shad will be up in there, and guys like to fish that shad pattern. But I will move out to mid depth a lot of the times when guys are up shallow, and I will slay them while they're up shallow catching fish. So there's more than one way to skin a cat. And just because one guy tells you he's doing it this way, trust me, there's more than one way to do it. There's not just one pattern in the lake. Now, usually there's going to be a prevailing pattern where the larger groups of fish, to have a day where you're catching a ton of big fish, they're going to be in a bigger group. But there's also days where you're going to have to move off of that pattern and target something else. And for instance, this time of year, I move up around the alligator gar if I'm up at Texoma. They're eating carp like this big. There ain't any small fish up there. It's only big fish. I'm just targeting fish over 40 when I fish that pattern. So, and if I'm fishing structure that's in mid depth or deep, I'm looking for ambush structure with giant fish sitting on it. I'm not looking typically for a large group of fish. I'm looking for fish that are laying on something that I can say, all right, I can see them laying on this at the bottom of this ledge. All right, I know I can run this ledge, and with precision, I can hit that ledge. And at the tip of this ledge, there's a little bump. And right there is where I'll probably get my biggest fish. So I'm going to make sure I hit that thing. Or if the channel bends around right next to that ledge, I know I'm going to try to hit right where that channel bends around that ledge. And, there's not a ton of fish around there, but the biggest fish in the area is right there. So there's more than one way to do it. And I'm living proof. You don't have to fish like everyone else fishes. You can go your own way and figure things out to do things different.
Yeah.
So,
and that's
you
the best.
can be successful, just as successful as the guy who's up, even more successful.
Yeah.
3 weeks ago, I fished with Alex Doty. There was a huge tournament. Everybody was up in 2 feet of water. It was after a rain. We went up there and fished. We caught some fish. We ended up moving out into 30 feet on a ledge, and it's like a bend in the lake. And the main lake, they had to go around. The fish that were moving shallow had to go around this bend and run the bottom of this ledge. And that's where we fished. We fished the bottom of that ledge, and we freaking destroyed them. And I mean, there was probably 25 or 30 boats in that catfish tournament. We destroyed those guys. It wasn't even close. They were all in $100,000 boats. And I mean, we probably doubled their fish weight. So you don't have to go with what everybody else is doing. Sometimes it's good to go off a hunch or try a little something different. You don't have to go off the same program as everybody else. So get out there and try to figure something else out. If it's not working, try something different. Right now, what side of the lake? I'm fishing the north side of the lake. I'm fishing up where the inlets are. That's spawning habitat, power plant lake. It doesn't matter. I'd still be fishing the inlets where the water is going to be coming in, even though it's not. You may not have had a recent rain. Fish are still want to try to orient to those areas because that's where they're going to want to run up and spawn. So if it does get rain, they can run up in there real quick. So,
Chris, when do you think the bite will die out for us? I'm thinking Chris is in your area there.
Yeah. Texoma usually a little bit behind. It's cooler up there, Chris. It's such a deep lake. It's typically several weeks behind. I think we'll probably start to begin to have a threadfin spawn on a lot of our North Texas lakes probably in about a week. We should probably start to see some threadfin spawn. That typically lasts about a week. Now, if it gets cold in the middle of it and then warms back up, it could be extended. But after that, the fish typically have gorged themselves and they move to spawning ground. The big one, the big fish, not all fish, but the really big ones typically go first. And then fish size will start to go down. So generally speaking, most years by May, the big fish bite's over here. I think it's going to happen a little sooner, but we'll see. Hopefully not, but I've got guys coming to fish with me every freaking trip for the next 3 weeks, man. I need it to be great. I got to produce.
Yeah, James, we still alive, brother. I sent you a text a while back, man. Yeah, we still doing good, brother. Let's see.
So dirty ore, yeah, it really depends on the time of year but deeper river, I wouldn't say that. I would typically look for a pattern before I would decide where I was going to head. And I think right now, pre-spawn, I would be fairly shallow because big fish are moving up to where they like to spawn. And if it's an inlet, they're going to be sitting there waiting for a good rain. When the temperature's right and there's a big influx of water, they run up in there, and they get up in that river and they go to their holes. So that's where I would be. And right now is time of year you catch some of the biggest fish of the whole year fishing that way.
Yeah.
I freaking guarantee you. So most of our best fish have come in March and April.
Yeah, for sure, man.
And we catch a ton of big fish in the winter. We catch more big fish in the winter, but our really big ones, because it's like a funnel. They love to go through that area. So if you're there on the day that they're going through there and you got the right bait in front of their face when they're making their way up in there, that's your best opportunity to get one.
And Chris, you hit on something earlier, man, especially for the lakes. If you've got a lot of cypress trees, guys, that has, like Chris was saying, one area might have a certain tree might have a different look, or it might have a shallow hole like a pond in the middle of these cypress trees.
I like those. I really love those.
Yeah. I'm telling you guys, anchoring up or dragging in that style of area, you're going to catch some big fish. You're going to catch some big fish for sure.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about having that little clear. I mean, you could probably still do it up in the forest, but also having that clearing, it allows you to a better opportunity to get the fish in.
Yeah,
because the giants, man, they run straight for the trees, and
especially
that little opening and turn them towards the boat.
Yeah,
you're gonna have a better shot at landing them.
Especially if you only got one or two ways it's going up in there. You know, where the boats kind of use a flow to go up in there, guys. That flow that you got going up into that clear area in the middle of all these cypress and stuff, fish that spot. I'm telling you, they will move through that highway for sure through there.
Also, guys, if you're up in an area and you're starting to mark fish, get off the big motor.
Yeah.
And get the trolling motor out and troll yourself up in there, because you won't spook all the smaller fish, but the really, really big ones will spook out of there with that big motor. So once you find the area where you're starting to mark some good, decent fish, get on the electric motor and start trolling yourself up to your spot. And that'll make a big difference also. So
don't be afraid to get up in there on these cypress, guys. Get up in there. Bump your boat up against some of these places under the water cypress. I mean, just get up in there.
Bill says he's got bait and a ton of anticipation for this weekend. Well, Bill, looks like there's rain hitting the inlet. I'll probably see you up there. I'll see you up there. Now, I've been fishing the new inlet, and there's been a lot more fish on that side this year than on the other side where I was fishing last year, where I showed you where you got hung up and spilled over. I'm fishing the opposite side. I'm fishing the Oklahoma side. I should have some good bait. My buddy's getting me some tomorrow. So, John Wayne Calder, what's up, boys?
What's up, brother?
See you up there, bud. Bill, make sure you go get your Texoma stamp. And hopefully one of us can catch that state record up there.
John Wayne, let's get together come September, brother. You know what I'm talking about. Some of them big gators.
Oh, man.
I'm ready to go do something.
Chris, I'll be up there this weekend. I'm fishing the inlet. Should be some rain. I know some rain hit there today. I don't know how much accumulation, but it looked like the whole Red River watershed had water hit it today. Think it should be enough, but tomorrow is supposed to be a lot bigger, more widespread rain tomorrow. So I think there should be some muddy water up there come Saturday morning. It's gonna be a little dicey for the wind. It's gonna be 10 to 20. So Bill, you might want to stay close to the war machine, buddy. Because 20 mile an hour wind on Texoma is no freaking joke, buddy. It's like 30 on most lakes. I don't know why it's so different, but
He said, been there and that. Man, he's got more than I got, Chris. I can promise you that. Man.
I really just looked at the rain. I saw the wind speed. I'm not sure the wind direction. So I'm just looking for one fish, Bill. I want that one. I'm due. Jackson's got a bunch of 60s this year, and I got a couple myself, but we got nothing in the 70s, no 80s yet. Guess I should just skip all those and go straight up to the 90-pound range, huh, Jamie?
I say go for it, brother. I know you can. I tell you what, me and Mama's definitely gonna try to catch us some toads this year.
Let me take this rig out of the package and not show it. I want to show the package.
Okay.
We got a new rig we've developed in the laboratory. It's just an idea I thought would probably work, just judging from what I've seen with my fishing this year. It's something that I've not seen in catfishing. Saturday, we're going to find out. I think it's going to produce a lake monster.
I tell you, it's going to throw up a lot of chatter when people finds out what you catch off of this, probably, Chris. I can say it's probably going to be like the teaser rig. You're going to see it start popping up here and there. I guarantee you, if you do what I know that you probably will be able to do, yeah, it's going to have a lot of people chattering about it.
John Way says, sounds like Wynall Bay. I don't know where Wynall Bay is.
Wynall Bay. Yes, sir. I've got the boat for that, brother. Yep. Sounds like Wynall Bay with the wind. Yep. And John Wayne, we got the boat. If you ever want to let us go after them also, brother, for sure. Yeah, the bay is definitely a place you don't want to be in some high wind.
I'm hoping it's the perfect freaking storm up there. We got rain. We had a little rain up there today. Big storm hitting tomorrow. Saturday is going to be south wind 10 to 20 mile an hour. Could be the day.
Yep. Yep.
I'm due, man. I mean, we've been getting, I think we've been getting 50s just about every trip. We had a bad trip when we went to Texoma with Rich Segura. I'm going to blame it on Rich. The only thing that was different was Rich.
It was Rich.
I'm going to blame it on Rich. Chris, you're going to love that Dakota 600, man. They're freaking awesome reels. It's my favorite catfishing reel by a long shot. And I've got most of the popular reels, I've got the Pin Squall 2, and I've got a new what's it called? It's a What's that new reel I got, Jamie?
Oh Lord.
It's
18
expensive.
to 1. Yeah, that thing.
Look like a tank, but I don't like it as much as my Dakota. I love my Dakotas. I got 16 of them. I love them. They're awesome.
See, Tubb says we was working our way to you, Chris, in a couple of weeks, but we just had a cancellation. I believe
Goodness.
he was coming your way, brother.
Yeah, I got a whole gang of magcatters coming to fish on the boat on the 10th. So I better freaking produce. They're like, well, we don't expect to catch a 50 or anything. I'm like, what you're telling me is you expect to catch a 50.
That's exactly
Why
right.
would you say that?
That's exactly right. Starting at the 50, Chris, going up from there.
Damn it.
Hey, John.
I've been having a lot of fun, guys coming in town from all over the country to come fish on the boat. We've had some awesome trips. We've had some incredible brotherhood. I had one on the boat last trip. Leland was on the boat last trip. Had Rich on the boat. Another vet. We had another vet come up fish with us. Before that, I had the most hated man in catfishing on the boat, Flathead Doty. We had a great time, man. I got along good with the guy. I mean, we just talked about fishing, caught some lake monsters.
I was about to say, y'all caught some nice fish, brother.
We smoked them. Got him 60, got him 50, got a 40, got some 30s, couple 20s. Can't ask for much of a better trip than that. And then Rich came in town and freaking just destroyed all of our luck. But luckily, I had one on the boat and Leland on the boat, and they said, man, we just got too many guys from Texas. We're going to override Rich's bad luck. And
and y'all caught some nice ones on that trip, too.
And, you know, I wouldn't be giving Rich such a hard time, but he was wearing me out on the day we were doing poorly. Dude, he would not let go of it. All right. I hope you can take it as good as you give it, buddy.
Hey, when y'all called me, I was laughing, man. It was hilarious listening to y'all, too.
Dude, we pulled a rabbit out of our hat, though. The last 5 minutes, he got a 35. And I thought, man, this is the best fish I ever caught. Now I don't have to listen to him freaking ride my ass for the next year.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I wanted to know Komodo Okuma. It's a good reel, but I still prefer my Dakotas. Dakota has a cranking power for pulling I pull a lot of planer boards, so cranking those things in is. Lee said crank down Rich. We gave Rich so much crap because he was going up and every time he grabbed the damn rod, he'd freaking just go grab it and set the hook like a damn bass angler. I'm like, come on, Rich, crank down. He lost so many. I was like, finally we caught one and I handed it to him. He got it in, and then it was Jackson's turn. And Jackson caught the fish. We all gave Rich crap. We're like, yeah, Jackson's going to have to show Rich how to catch a damn fish.
Hey, brother, we definitely need to plan a trip, brother. That's for sure.
Yeah, Jared, that after that weekend that I complained so much about it, there was close to 2,000 jugs up there. I never seen anything like it. I don't know if there was maybe some Pale Acre guys up there doing that. I never seen anything like it. There was thousands of them, but I've been up there a couple times, 3 times since then, and it was not bad at all. Only a couple of long strings really in the whole inlet. So I was up there spring break. I was thinking, man, if it was bad before spring break, what's it going to be like when we go up there? But we had some cold, super big wind and rain right before we had gone. So I think that kept them off the lake.
Chris, you see Justin Cox's message right there. He said, "In our defense, you made your move while we were all moving to the ramp to make weigh-in time. Until then, it was slow for you as well. But that 60 pounder, you and still would have had everybody in first place."
Well, before we made our move, we had a 60, a 40, 330, 235s, a 30, couple 20s. Now, once we made our move, we got a 50, a 40, a bunch of 20s, and probably, I don't know, 10 or 15 teeners and about 10 pounders. We had done well before we made the move. We made the move when the wind completely died. And you'll hear me say every time, the wind dies, I'm moving to structure. So as soon as the wind died, we picked up and moved. But we lit them up before that, Justin. We were posting our pictures all morning. I mean, well, Doty was. He was going live. We got lucky, but I'll take it. So.
Yeah, John Wayne, we would definitely be using some big hand size for flatheads, brother. I can promise you that. We're going to go big or go home, like Chris likes to say. So we're going to have some 2-hand size bluegill when we definitely go after them for those flatheads. So be ready, brother.
Yeah, Justin, one thing you won't hear me make is a lot of excuses, but I will also go ahead and say, I mean, I kicked you guys' asses straight up. I lit y'all up. Now, it was my day. The next day, I got my ass kicked. I would have gone out there and looked bad. But on that day, I smoked all of y'all. It was not even close. I don't fish a lot of tournaments. I used to. Guys ask, how would you do in a tournament? I'd do great. I don't have any, there's no doubt in my mind. I'm a hardcore fisherman. I've been doing it as long as anybody. I'm a confident angler. I have a sense that no matter what, I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to bet on myself every time. That's just me, man.
You got to have that confidence, man. If you don't have that confidence that today is going to be my day, I mean, man, almost you might as well stay at home because, you know, Chris, every time I go, man, I'm like, okay, today's the day I'm going to flat wax them. I'm going to catch this state record. I look at that every time I go, man.
I like to fish a little different than most guys. And I think it's served me well. And I don't try to compare myself to other guys, really. You know, I just want to do things the way I like to do them. I want to do it for fun. And that's the way I'm going to do it. So whatever's fun for me, I like to do it that way.
John Wayne said, I fold every time in a tournament. Ask Jamie. Brother, I'm always worried about all you guys during the tournament. What you talking about?
You know, all my guide buddies fish these tournaments, and I fish up against my guide buddies every weekend. I do pretty damn good.
Chris, I love
I do
fishing.
pretty good against them.
That's it. A lot of these guys around here, man, we always like to have a good time and stuff when we fish against tournaments, against each other and stuff. And we had a little thing going. John, I can't remember if it was 2 years ago. I think maybe 3 years ago when I had to do the lie detector test when we won that tournament. And I told all of them, I said, I promise you, it was on strawberry chicken. That's what I wanted to fish. And then I really didn't know. I got to tell you, boys, it wasn't. I don't use that, but it was a big old bluegill. We all had a good time with that one. Oh man.
I'll tell you one thing. I typically don't fish where other guys are fishing, but a lot of guys come fish where I'm fishing.
Yeah.
Okay. So when I see other guys fishing, it's not like I run up there, whoa, they must be doing good. I don't do that. I'm just not that type of angler. I go do my own thing. I just, what I'm seeing, I fish what I see on the graph. I don't go because someone else is doing something and go do that. I fish the graph, and that's the only way that I do it. And that's just the way I like to do it. If I'm not seeing what I like on the graph, then I'm not fishing. And I typically just go where I think the fish are going to be, not where somebody tells me the fish are going to be.
Now, Chris, I have been asked this, and I'm going to ask you. A lot of people say, okay, how about if you graph an area, and I've done this, and the fish was not there? You know that's a really good spot. Now, I know I can graph a place. If I'm early, the fish probably ain't going to be there.
Yeah.
They might be there 3 hours later. And that's something also, guys, get to know your times. When you are graphing certain areas you know that holds good fish, look at the times that it's holding that fish, those fish and stuff.
I'd agree. So a lot of these lakes, they're like that. The fish will move. They have, like, I would say, they have a route that they like to take. So they move this way, and then maybe there's a point up there, and they move up towards that point. And at some point, they're going to settle into what I call a home zone. It's just an area that they like to sit in, and they may not be traveling anymore. They just kind of sit there. And on a lot of these lakes, I kind of know, I have a good idea where these home zones are. And, I know that, all right, the fish aren't here now. I'm going to go look for the fish and fish them. And maybe later, after lunch, I may come check the home zone again, and the fish have all just decided that's where they're going to go sit now.
Yeah.
And they'll just sit there for hours, and you just drag through them 2 or 3 times and hammer them. And I actually did that a lot this year. Fished in the morning, the fish weren't there. I picked up, went and looked. I'm going to find the fish. I go find the fish. I fish them, I catch some fish. They move. And then I go back to where I think that they're going to go settle down for, and they're there. So,
and Chris, I do that.
Time on the water is the only thing that taught me that, man.
Yeah. And I do that a lot during the nighttime bites. I can tell you, man, I need to be in this spot at this time because I know they're going to be moving into that area. And as soon as I graph it, and that night we done the live, Chris, we I don't know if we were live when we were graphing it, but I think we were graphing it before we went live. I knew, okay, these fish are to be here. If they're not 100% here, I do see 1 or 2. I know they're going to continue coming into this area as the night goes along even more. And that's what happened that night we were live. I saw that bite picking up until a certain point where the tide started slowing down. And all night, me and you were back to back catching fish because of that, knowing the time that they should be moving in there.
Yeah, just understanding over time what fish like to do and kind of how they move around the lake, how far they travel. They typically have a range. And if you know that they're in this section of the lake, usually you can hound dog them. Okay. They were here yesterday. Now it's 2 days, 2 days ago, they were here. I know, if there's not been some major event, they're going to be somewhere within a mile. Now I know a mile seems like a lot, but, it's not actually that far if you know how to track.
Yeah.
I run and gun. When I'm scanning, I run and gun. So I'm here. I scan 100-yard stretch. I don't see any big fish. I haul ass to my next spot where I think it's all right. They were here. If they were here out of this section of 5,000 acres, where are all the little spots they could be in this section? And then I'll haul ass, stop, scan it, haul ass, stop, scan, and it might take me 30, 40 minutes to scan, but I can run and gun and scan 5,000 acres like that in about 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Scanning the way I like to scan. And usually when you come off a plane, it's almost like, all right, I'm in the right area. Now I can figure out they're here. Where do they start and where do they end? And then I can decide how I'm going to target them.
That it's nothing to cover 4 to 5 miles pretty quick on the river doing that same thing, and it has paid off by doing it that way. Come off a plane, scan it, bam, go.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to set up unless like I was just talking about. I know the fish are going to be here, or they should be here by this certain time. I'm not going to waste a lot of time in an area that I know is not going to hold fish. So if they're not there, if I'm not sure about what time they're going to be there, run it, shoot it, go.
I agree. That's the way I like to fish. I'm fishing the screen every time. I won't fish and I won't even get a line wet until I see what I like. Occasionally, it's just very hard to find what you like, but 99% of the trips I can generally see something that I like and I'll throw down on it.
Yeah. Guys, if y'all have any questions out there, feel free to ask. We'd love answering them. We got a lot, man. We got a good crowd tonight. Appreciate everybody asking questions.
Wheeler, my ice cream slinger. What's up, bro? Well, you missed another big fish season fishing with me, man. It's almost over. So I know you've been busy. I see you on Facebook making ice cream every weekend.
Oh, man. Does sound good.
You ever get a hankering to go fish, you holler at me, man. We're out there every weekend.
Guys,
so,
and all of our...
if I mark a monster, I'm typically going to fish it. If I mark one that I feel like it's over 60, I'm fishing it. If I'm looking, typically when I'm looking for big fish, I'm looking for 50-pound fish and over. Now, you don't always find it, but typically if you start seeing fish in the 50-pound class on side image, you're seeing multiple of them. Now, you may mark a bunch of big fish in an area and only get a couple of them to bite. We go through a ton of big fish to get a handful. You'd be surprised. I mean, some days you see the fish on the graph and you're like, that one fish, and then you catch it. But some days you go through hundreds of them before you catch one or two. So,
Chris, you see that question from Owen. You might be able to answer that because he's using that style baits.
I use live. I generally use fresh caught bait, Owen. I don't use store-bought bait, but if you had to, I would say chicken. That's not what I use. I know blue cats, when they're hungry, they'll eat damn near anything. I've caught them on, we did a pick your bait challenge. I let my son pick all the baits. He picked clams. He picked gummy bears. He picked little smokies, shrimp, and one other thing. Oh, earthworms. Out of all of those, I figured earthworms and maybe clams or shrimp would do well. They didn't. They did terrible. What caught the most fish was gummy bears. It was like 30-1. Gummy bears. They just destroyed gummy bears. Why gummy bears? Well, I don't know. I think they make gummy bears out of they boil like bones and skin and all the parts and the gel that they boil out of that. That's what they make gummy bears out of. So I just figured it's probably something to do with that. But we hammered them on gummy bears. So I don't know, man. I know that we caught one fish on a worm, which I thought, well, everything likes a damn earth, a night crawler.
That's it.
We got one fish on the worm. We got none on the clams, which I thought the clams had a chance. Nothing. I think we got one on the shrimp, one on the little smoky.
Now here, Chris, here local, the shrimp would probably just wax them on the shrimp, especially down towards
shrimp.
Man,
shrimp.
They
wanted gummy bears.
Hey, they got that sweet tooth also, man.
You should have seen my son. He lit up when we caught the first fish on the gummy bear.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I've had times. Yep.
Find them tossing big live brim, at times smaller baits work better.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a preference usually. The bigger fish typically don't want to have to eat a bunch of smaller meals. So if you present them with something that's, an easy meal that's going to fill them up, they would rather have that. But they are creatures of opportunity. And if you put the right bait in front of them when they're hungry, they'll eat it. Caught them on hog backstrap. Caught them on every fish in the lake. Everything. They'll eat any fish in the lake. At some point, they will eat any fish in the lake.
Now, Chris, let me ask you this. Do you find when you're tossing bigger baits work better in some areas than tossing smaller baits, or sometimes it just not matter?
Definitely. So typically when I'm fishing for really big fish, I'm not generally around a bunch of small fish. Big fish are separate from small fish. Small fish, typically, when I see a lot of small fish, they're around threadfin. They're around smaller bait fish. When I'm seeing my biggest, baddest fish, they're almost always off by themselves. They're the only fish in the group. And there might be carp or something around, or maybe, striper, but there's typically not a lot of smaller fish around them.
No.
Tubbs says he's ordering some gummy bears right now. No, they are not the THC. These were the Harbo, just the old standard gummy bear. Yeah, Justin, 1/30. So we did have a 60th for the day but we caught a bunch of 10s. So I guess we would have had 5 fish right at 10. So if it was 5, I don't know what your tournament was. 7. I don't remember what you said. It was a weird layout. 7 fish tournament. 1/30, 6 unders. Well, we had 6 10-pounders. So, we would have pretty much had all of our unders were right. We'd have had the unders. Those were, we were trying to outsize. I was throwing some dumbass giant baits. When I said, Doty, what do you think about this? He's like, I like how you think. What do you think will hit that? I was like, hopefully
a monster.
Biggest fish of your life. That's what we're out here for. So that's why I go up there. It's a high risk, high reward area to fish. The area that I'm fishing, you typically don't catch a lot of fish. Now I could move out around the bigger groups and do better, catch a lot of fish from 20 to 50. But the area that I'm fishing, you're not catching a whole lot of fish under 40 pounds when you get up there. It's a high risk, high reward type deal. But it's really the only lake that we have that you can do that. And that's why I'm up there, man. I'm trying to catch my biggest fish of the year when I go up there. So,
Chris, Brad asks, when fishing during the busy time in the summer, do the jet skis and wake boats affect the fish biting at all? Now, I have my
no,
opinion.
Brad, what affects the fish from biting is the bite window. In the summer, when the jet skis hit the lake, that typically coincides with the bite window ending.
Yeah.
So about 10:30 in the summer, as soon as the jet skis start hitting the lake, because they're up drinking the night before, they're freaking hungover. They don't even come out. They generally don't even show up till about 10:45 on our lake.
Yeah.
That's about the time the fish bite dies. As soon as you've seen the first jet ski hit the lake, it's time to freaking reel them up and call it a day, because the morning bite's over. And it's, for us, I call it pleasure fishing because, it's not a whole lot of work. You're wearing your swim trunks. You throw out some small baits, 8/0 hooks, and you catch, maybe 20 eaters about before 10 a.m. And then the party's over, go to the pool, hang out, cook out, and whatever. But
and that's why you see
that's our summer fishing. So,
and that's why you see a lot of tournaments that's held in the summertime. They're held from basically like 7 in the afternoon when all that's over with, and then pretty well over around 7 or 8 the next
problem
morning.
though in the summer, if you fish the night bite or the early evening bite, is that people have been drinking all day.
Yeah.
So if you that's another thing. I fish with my son, and man, it's not just dangerous, but man, it's almost like I've never been closer to beating the ever living. Like when I was young, I would actually do it, but now I got my son on the boat, and I'm like, damn it. I just want to beat the ever living shit out of this person.
Yeah, it seems like it's getting a lot worse. I know on the rivers at night, I don't try to fish a lot, basically in main traffic areas, just for that reason.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though, Jamie. After COVID, there is no main traffic area. Those freaking new boat idiots, they don't have any idea that where they're not supposed to be, or they're everywhere now.
Yeah,
even the places used to be safe. Hell, there's timber I fish, and there's dummies flying through the timber.
I was getting ready to say, Chris, in a lot of these jet ski places that rent jet skis or take people out, they're using a lot more of the creeks now than they are the main traffic areas. And it's just crazy to me. So, I mean, now when I say main traffic areas, I'm basically getting in the backwoods, getting away from, I know where they're not even going to be a jet ski. Or if you see one in there, they're freaking lost as crap. But, I'm
thinking about just going to the super timbered lakes this summer to fish.
Yeah.
Just so I can, not have them buzzing around me like that.
And people, man, the courtesy, like we could get into a whole nother thing. The courtesy thing with all these jet skis or wake boaters and fishermen, it's like water and it's like water and oil, man. It just don't mix a lot of times, and there's no respect out there no more. There really isn't, and even in between bass fishermen and cat fishermen, it's the same way with that. There's not a lot of respect anymore, and it's a shame. I mean, back in the day, man, when I was raised with my grandparents, people would slow down for you on the river, wave at you, and continue on. Now, shit. Man, you get somebody to slow down, it's amazing.
I think there's just so many guys that don't really understand. They're never really had a boat, and they don't really know. And a lot of it's ignorance. It's not disrespect. They're just not. They just don't know that they're really in the wrong.
Yeah,
they think, oh, the law is 50 feet, but they don't realize there's also a law you can't disturb somebody fishing. And that means putting up a wake or putting your big motor over the fish I'm trying to catch. Or scanning my freaking. Here's the one that really chaps my hide, which I think guys should know, is a cat fisherman getting in on my line and scanning my fish to see what I'm fishing. What's this guy? He looks like he knows what he's doing. I'm going to go scan in front of him to see what he's fishing. To me, that's mind-boggling. How could somebody in their right mind think that that's okay?
Some people just thinks, I don't know, man.
I don't mind guys fishing around me. It comes with the territory. It's everywhere. Ask anybody who comes on my boat. They're like, damn, you draw a crowd. And I'm like, well, it comes with the territory. As long as people are respectful, it's not a problem. But when people do that dumb shit, like get on my line where I'm going right here, why would you get 50 yards in front of me and start scanning my area? Obviously you're a cat fisherman. You know what I'm doing. How could what in your mind tells you what you're doing is okay? And usually those guys won't even look at me. They're like, pretend like I'm not even there. Just, they want to see what I don't know. You tell me, what are they thinking? They just want to see what I'm looking at to maybe try to learn something?
Man, I tell you.
They don't ever fish it, but they just look to see what I'm fishing.
I don't sometimes just getting in somebody's head, man. I would love to know what these people think. Sometimes it would be probably pretty scary
to see somebody, and not in an a-hole type of way, but just would like to pick their brain. So what was going through your head when you got in front of my line I was dragging and started scanning? Like what exactly were you doing? Were you just trying to learn something?
And Chris, I know you in the same way. I'm going to slow down. I don't care if I'm tournament fishing. I don't care if I'm just, I'm going to slow down and give that respect. That's the way I was taught. And I would hope people would do the same thing. But I can tell you, man, like I just saw, all these new boaters every year. You got so many new people, man. So many new people. Even at the boat ramps, I just sit there and laugh sometimes.
Boat ramp's funny, man.
It's like a comedian.
In the afternoon, the boat ramp is funny.
I want to sit there. I know on YouTube they got.
When I see guys putting their boat in when I'm getting off the lake, I'm like, man, you don't have a clue. And then you see how they operate.
Yep.
That's how I got with the trailer. He just
that's just like I love it when you watch the guys trying to back up. They're up and backing up, and then Rebecca. I'm not saying because she can just back it straight up, and they'll be like, "Damn, can you back my truck up for me?"
John Wayne said he had some bass fishing past him, pulled him off anchor. I passed him later that day and almost put him in the water. So, some days I'll be honest, I'm not, I'm a human and that stuff affects me as well. And I've done the same thing, John, where we had a bass tournament one day and I'm dragging a hump. It's an early summer day and all the bass guys just come and like they all take a straight shot. Now they could very easily go around me and take them all of about an extra 15 seconds to go around, but they just straight shotted right. Just blew. It's going 70 right next to me. It's like 5 dudes, one right after the next. It's a bass tournament. I see exactly where they go. They head up through this area and then they go beat this shoreline and they all line up. And one of them goes and the next one behind. So there's 5 of them. So I'm like, I'd had enough. I reeled all my shit up. I went over there and I blew out their line, dude. Just went right freaking next to them on the big motor. And they were all like, oh, and I'm like, you just freaking, all 5 of y'all just did it to me. But now it's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I probably didn't teach them a lesson. They just thought, "Ooh, F that catfisherman," what an asshole. But I had to get back at them that day. And normally I don't do that. Normally I just let it go. But there was 5 of them, and it was a tournament. And I thought, so it's a tournament, so it's okay for y'all to do it. So how y'all gonna like it when I blow out your spot? Because I'm freaking coming. I'm not proud of some of the shit I do, but hell, I'm human, boys.
Let's see. Especially, that's when it gets dangerous. When a lot of these tournaments happen, or you have a catfish tournament and a bass tournament out of the same place, or boat ramps close together, it does get dicey. I would hope for the safety aspect, even if it's not foggy or foggy, guys, man, just courtesy, be careful, because I'm gonna tell you, it like I just saw Tubbs, man. It takes one time, and that's it. And it can be prevented. It can really be prevented. I know these boys, a lot of them are running 70, 80 mile an hour now in these bass boats. And I understand a lot of catfishing, we're running, not that probably that fast, but a little bit. I mean, it's just, man, it just takes one time for something to happen.
It happens a lot.
It does. And
it's that time of year too when it starts really happening more frequently. And if you're out there every weekend while they're out there, it's damn near every weekend. It starts to happen damn near every weekend now.
And Chris, like around here, especially on the intercoastal, you have these big yachts. I mean, they're just as bad, bro. They would pass me on some areas, never slow down. Water coming in.
Oceanic wave out.
Oh, yeah. And I've seen them blow through no wake zones, and they're just as bad as the smaller boats. It's crazy that I think.
No, I've seen them laugh. I've seen them laugh when they, like, there was some kayakers, I got a big boat, but and it still rocks me real good, but they rocked some kayakers and they laughed about it.
Man.
And I just thought, what a dick. What a dickhead, man. What an asshole.
That is it, guys. We tell the truth here, brother. We tell the truth on this show.
Have common courtesy for your fellow anglers or just your fellow human beings. Really,
But yeah.
John Wayne says later, boys. Plan something later, plan something up, Jamie.
For sure, brother. Definitely. We're getting ready to start hitting it up. We're going to start lighting it up here local. John Wayne, we're going to come up with a tournament series very soon, brother. So stick around for that.
Oh, man. Tub went and got his 30-foot scarab.
That's it, brother. That's it. Man. Trying to go back to having.
You got anything you want to promote?
Well, guys,
I don't know if I should do chores this weekend, clean the garage, or do some crap my wife wants me to do. Let's just spin the wheel and decide.
Just spin. Oh, see there you go, brother.
I guess I'm going fishing.
I got to get me one of those. But you know something, Rebecca, she'll be the first one on the boat saying, "Let's go, man." Even when I'm not.
Y'all need to go fish, man. Y'all need to get the boat. You got the boat back?
I'm hoping tomorrow. It's supposed to be tomorrow. So we're hoping for that. If we do, man, we're getting ready to start putting it to them. I promise you, we're gonna start putting it to them. So I know Mama released a couple of new shirts on Facebook today, guys. If y'all haven't looked at them, go check them out. We're working on some new stuff. Stick around.
I put up a post today about this deal that I made that I'd liked.
Yep.
Got pretty good reaction.
Yep. We're definitely going to be coming out with some new stuff.
We'll put that on a performance fishing shirt.
That's it.
Make
So
some decals.
Y'all stick around, guys. We got some cool stuff happening at Carolina Lake Weights, that's for sure. And Chris, I
We'll
can't
get
wait.
you a knife from Jimmy Floyd on Facebook. If you need his contact information, I got it. He made this one for my son, Action Jackson, with a circle hook. Pretty badass. He made this one for me. He didn't ask for anything. Just a friend of mine. I've just become friends through the slime show. He's was asking some questions about drifting. He's like, hey, appreciate the help. I'm going to send you something. So
I tell you, man, that right there is a beautiful, beautiful. Don't do what I just did. Don't drop it.
Rob, looks like we'll be fishing Texoma this weekend, buddy. I think I'm going to wait to make sure we're going to get rain on the inlet tomorrow, but looks like we'll be fishing Texoma. I'm going to fish with Rob and his son, and hopefully we can catch some giants, get them some PBs. Fisherman Sid said, bringing any Bulgo lures out. What's a Bulgo lure?
By the way, Chris, that nice shark.
You losing some blood over there? Oh man, yeah, they come razor sharp.
There's proof right there, boys. Get you some of them knives.
Juan says, when them 2XL long sleeves with the hood coming out? Unfortunately, my sizes have a number in front of it.
Brad, we definitely got all kinds of stuff over there. We got some real good starter stuff, brother. Definitely go check it out. There's tons of stuff over there. So anything we can help you with. Also, if you want to ask questions, my cell phone number is on it, or you can send me a message. Be more than happy to help you, brother, in anything we can.
Yeah, Brad, you can get a hold of me too. I'll try to help you as best I can. Help get you dialed in.
That's right, Dan.
Drop it, don't grab it. Hard just reacting.
See, we do everything live. There's not. We don't edit this or nothing, guys.
Rob said Jamie's not allowed sharp items no more.
Hey, we just showing how good of a quality knife this is. That's what we're doing.
Oh man. Will I need an Oklahoma license? Rob, you can get a Texoma stamp. Well, it's not a stamp, it's a license, but it's a tag. So you go to the Texas Parks and Wildlife, you can buy them online, and then once you buy it, just print your receipt out that you paid for it. It's like $15. That'll allow you to fish the Oklahoma and the Texas side without having to buy an Oklahoma license. It's like $15 for Texoma. So,
and guys, I see y'all putting in.
You're going to need it if we catch the state record, buddy. So make sure you bring that thing.
We will have more sizes in those shirts that we turn loose today. Hopefully by this weekend. So stick around for that, guys. We will have more.
All right. Well, Rob, I'm going to keep an eye on the weather. When I see the storm roll through up there on that Red River tomorrow, I'll call you or I'll text you and let you know. I'll send you a location for where we'll meet. If we're fishing up there, it's going to be Juniper Point West where we'll put in. We'll meet at daylight, which is about 7 a.m. But I'll get a hold of you before. We'll get everything. I'll make sure we touch base before we. If there's no rain up there, we'll probably go to Lavon, but I believe we're going to have rain up there. So, yeah, Brad, they're talking about getting rid of Texas Parks and Wildlife. I'd be very surprised if it actually happens. They're talking about dispersing its everything that it covers. They're talking about dispersing it into other departments, the government departments that run the Department of Land Management, and I don't think it's a good idea. There's a lot of things about Texas Parks and Wildlife that I don't agree with. I don't believe that they think they don't have a forward way of thinking. Everything is thought of after the fact. They try to fix things that are broke rather than fix things before they're broke. But I do think that they try to do a good job. But if they get rid of it, I don't see how they could improve it by doing that. Want to get rid of the bass holes? Pull a cast net out and give it a couple throws. You ever tried tilapia for bait? I seen Levon has them in there. I've never used tilapia. I don't see why it wouldn't work, especially if they're in the lake. I know they're in Levon. I don't know. Seems like they would die in the winter because it does get cold, but yes, Brad, they're reactive instead of proactive. They wait until it's okay. So it's a good way to be if for species that you can rapidly replace, like a bass. Bass gets big in 5 years. Crappie gets big in 5 years. Catfish takes 20 years to get big. If you wait until it's screwed up and then try to fix it, it's too late. And they screwed around and waited and let Tawakoni get destroyed, which, I thought they were trying to grow a 100-pounder in there. And in reality, they allowed the big fish killers to mutilate, to rape that lake. So it is what it is. So it's better than nothing. They do try to fix things. They're underfunded. Every year they're underfunded. They don't have enough enforcement. I don't know what the alternative is. I think that there needs to be more guys like us who appreciate the resource and want to try to protect the resource rather than guys that don't care and just want to rape it. And then as they're doing it, they want to throw it in guys' face and say, hey, look what I kept. F you type guys. Yep. Jamie Dunn.
Yes, sir.
Good show.
Enjoyed it, man. And I won't say, guys,
we end up getting coming off half cocked at the end.
Man. Hey, guys.
We get emotional, we like big fish. We want to protect.
That's it. And guys, I appreciate all y'all joining in tonight and appreciate all the questions. We really loved it. And thank y'all for always supporting us here on the Slime Show. I know, man, it gets better every week, Chris, and I love it, man. Like I said, 83 episodes already. So thank y'all guys for backing us on everything.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Y'all become good friends and hell, like family, really. I look forward to every Wednesday night. We don't always put on the best show, but we always try to have fun.
Yep.
Seems like we got a lot of the same guys in here enjoying it every week. That's the beauty of it, really. I mean, we get to come out and talk catfishing with our buddies every Wednesday night. So we're going to keep doing it. And hopefully, we'll just keep adding some more good guys. We're going to keep trying to get good guests. We'll keep trying to help guys get better. We're going to try to get better. I don't know if we will, but we'll try. If we
definitely going
to cursing so damn much.
Or trying to cut our finger off.
Oh, yeah. Keep him from chopping his finger off.
Oh, man. What's in this cup, Chris? I don't know. Oh, man.
Oh, man. All right, guys. Appreciate everybody. Y'all be good. Tight lines. God bless. Azul out.
Later, guys.